arrests and sentencing going down in the crypto space. My goodness, not only did the CEO of Binance, after after pleading guilty to charges, go ahead and get sentenced to looks like 3 years today, but the U.S. District Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York announced charges against the founders of CEO of and CEO of a cryptocurrency mixing service called Samourai Wallet for an alleged money laundering and operation unlicensed money transmitting business. So the defendants were Keonne Rodriguez and William Longer Hill, were arrested for developing and operating the Samourai Wallet, which enabled over $2 billion in unlawful cryptocurrency transactions and laundered over $100 million in criminal proceeds, allegedly. Samourai Wallet offered features like Whirlpool for batching crypto transactions and Ricochet and adding hops between senders and recipients to conceal the source of funds. So it would spoof where the money was coming to, going into and from, kind of like a privacy coin. Prosecutors allege the defendants knew these features would be used for money laundering. The charges include conspiracy to commit money laundering, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, and conspiracy to operate as an unlicensed money transmitter, which carries a maximum of 5 years. Samourai's website was seized and its apps removed from the Google Play Store. So in an unprecedented fashion, the website for this company, which has done over $2 billion in BTC transactions, was seized. And you go to it, it says, seized by the United States government. These guys, one of them was living abroad in Poland or London, somewhere in Europe. And what's interesting is that Mr. William Langer Hill, he was listed as a U.S. national. Now, Keonne Rodriguez was listed as a U.S. citizen. So there's a big important nuance. When I read the actual indictment, which was unsealed today, it says they were both U.S. citizens. But in the press release by the Southern District of New York today, they released the press release. It says that Mr. Hill was a national. Big difference, huge difference. Does the United States Department of Justice have jurisdiction over Mr. Hill if he's a U.S. national? It's a big, bold question. I'd like to know. I would like to know the answer to that. It's funny because in a case against Bankman-Fried, if you read the indictment, if you read the actual transcript, something interesting happened where on the transcript of the sentencing for Bankman-Fried's girlfriend, the court specifically, they had concern that she was a national on the transcript, if you read it. And the court says specifically to her, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" And she says, "Yes." Then the court went to sentencing. They're not going to tell you this stuff. It's not like, oh, bold in your face. You got to know what to look for. All right. But when they say, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" right there on the transcript of Bankman-Fried's girlfriend, and she says, "Oh, I am, yeah." Oh, and then they go to sentence, but they had concern further in the transcript that she wasn't a citizen and she was a national. Something's up. So my question I'm going to be following this is he a national? If Hill's a U.S. national, do they have jurisdiction? The big news is they arrested both of these guys, and apparently they're going to try to get extradition on Hill, and it looks like Rodriguez is in Pennsylvania, so he's in custody right now. I'm not supporting or endorsing or supporting any of these things, this over big, broad reach of power. I mean, I'd never even heard of this guys. I know nothing about him. So it's not fair for me to say that it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but I'm just more interested in kind of getting the word out there that looks like there's big crackdown on the big crypto stuff. Privacy coins, privacy, this is what this was. It was privacy. So trying to spoof the wallet addresses so that it couldn't be tracked. And that apparently had been going on for 10 years now. That's what the indictment says. It was a sealed indictment. And so apparently the Southern District of New York, the prosecutor down there, he's making a big, bold move on this. And he's got a lot of, it was Mr. Damian Rodriguez, I think. Mr. Williams, I believe, is the one. So, yeah, so, I mean, a lot of hard work from those guys at the prosecution office. I mean, applause to them for what they're doing. It says Damian, United States Attorney Damian Williams. I'm sure he worked his tail off to probably get this case together. These guys have been going on for 9 years. So hats off for their service and what they're doing. Whether or not, they're obviously enough going on here to issue an arrest warrant. So it wasn't just, this isn't just some allegations on the complaint. I mean, they've got an arrest. They've arrested one of the guys. And then the other guy is, sounds like somehow they put him in custody in Poland, is it in Poland or it's in, yeah, Hill was arrested in Portugal this morning based upon U.S. criminal charges. The United States will seek Hill's extradition and to stand trial in the United States. But then further along in this article, that's where I thought this was interesting, and I'll post the article here in the chat, that it says that Hill is a U.S. national. Rodriguez, 35, of Harmony, Pennsylvania, and Hill, 65, a U.S. national who was arrested in Portugal. So I don't know why did they say he's a U.S. national? Is it just because he's living abroad and therefore he's no longer a U.S. citizen? Or why in the indictment do they say he was a U.S. citizen? And then now he's a U.S. national. It could just be a nuance here because he was abroad. They're calling him a U.S. national, but it seems like he'd still be considered a U.S. citizen just because he's living abroad, unless he somehow got citizenship somewhere else. Anyways, it's really a whole opens up a whole can of worms here. I don't know if this guy Hill has any idea about that or not, but I'm just going to be interested to see how it follows, because apparently if he's not a U.S. citizen at all, what's their jurisdiction? That's what I'm wondering. Where do they get their jurisdiction to arrest him in Portugal? See what I'm saying? All right. That's it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But again, the guy from Binance, he went down on he went sentenced for 3 years, and then these guys just got arrested. Man, it's getting crazy out there, man. What's going on? All this stuff was talked about and kind of prophesized by that guy, that big hated guy that everybody just calls as the worst man ever, the most hated man in crypto or Bitcoin of all time, Dr. Craig Wright. But he's the one that specifically talked about these things happening. I mean, over and over again. He called this happening for Binance, and he called things like this happening again. Was Craig Wright? It's kind of a funny nuance. Craig Wright? Was Craig Wright? I don't know. Maybe on some things. All right. Like the video, the share button, and subscribe. Hit the notification bells. Be sure to leave a comment. All right. I'll see you at the top.